Greetings, brothers and sisters. So I'm not sure how many people made it to my video, the end of my video yesterday, but there was less comments. There was two things I was surprised weren't commented about more. Joe Biden goes dark. Brandon comes out fighting. That the left and the Democrats have tried to hijack the "Let's Go Brandon" F Joe Biden meme and turn him into this. And he's got these, he looks like a demon. Huffington Post, I think this is their own creation. But there is a dark Brandon meme. It's also played into the dark Brandon, a new meme beloved by Democrats on social media. Over the past month or so, liberals have inverted conservatives' derogatory "Let's Go Brandon" chant to invent a type of Brandon fan fiction where the oldest president of the U.S. is a badass superhero smiting Republicans and passing legislation for the greater good. And it's just so unbelievably lame, right? I mean, if something's funny, it's funny. If they do something, the left does something, the right does something funny, it's funny. And then sometimes it gets played out. The "Let's Go Brandon" thing became annoying. Like at some point, it was like, all right, let's move on, right? But in the beginning, it was funny. And now that it's like way played out, they're trying to bring this in and turn him into a superhero. He could be Diaper Boy. Like, how about Diaper Boy? And what is his son? Is his son Dark Hunter, right? His son is his little Batman there, able to smoke crack at 40 paces. I mean, it's like, completely clueless. The other thing that I was surprised nobody commented on was that this historian was using the idea of atomic bomb, was putting out this idea that if Trump was president, he would have leaked critical information and the U.S. somehow wouldn't have been able to drop the atomic bombs on Japan, which was like unbelievably insensitive, inhuman. Like he was trying to say that Trump was such a bad president, we would have never dropped atomic bombs if he were. And I was like, that was the most shocking thing of anything I covered yesterday. The raid, what's next? Well, nothing really. Trump search, what may come next in inquiry with legal peril. Grimes says Mark Zuckerberg is wildly underqualified to run the metaverse. Grimes, who is, sort of a Poppy knockoff. I mean, she had some sort of interactions with Poppy. She is like one of these, not even like just a poser type of singer. And she married Elon Musk, and they named their baby a series of letters and numbers. And now, like somehow she's an expert on It seems as though it may take some convincing for Grimes if Mark Zuckerberg were to run the metaverse. The singer, 34, expressed her disdain over the tech mogul's plans to expand the company formerly known as Facebook into a metaverse pioneer. Well, that already happened. If Zuck oversees the metaverse, it is dead, and people who care about art and culture are building something else. Also, this is bad art. The quality of this image alone speaks to how wildly underqualified he is to build alternative reality. Literally every indie game looks better. Well, he didn't build this. He didn't write the code. Not that I care about Mark Zuckerberg, and I hope he fails because, he's Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook sucks. But, it's just Grimes. And then this happened.
With me now, former Trump White House Press Secretary Stephanie.
Who's this dude?
Grisham and former Assistant
Stephanie Grisham.
Special Watergate Prosecutor Nick Ackerman. Nick, in criminal law, you have aggravating circumstances, factors that increase.
So this guy has been indicated as being on the hot seat. CNN has to clean house because the ratings are atrocious. They just have to do something to pretend they're trying to be better. And this guy with his, I've done that meme a number of times. I won't do it here, but he's just horrible, right? And think about this guy Jim Acosta, who got into it with Trump. And I'm not a Trump fan, right? But these guys have trouble on a night-to-night basis. I think he has a weekend show. I'm not sure, but they have trouble just getting a couple 100,000 viewers. Right? Trump has like 40 million, very strong followers. I mean, just think about the difference in his ability to generate an audience. This guy with CNN, because, how many Jim Acosta fans are there? Right? You understand this. He's on a network. Like all of us who are on social media, unless we were famous before, unless we had, lots and lots of friends or lots and lots of, just people knew who we were, we start off at zero or pretty much zero. Maybe 5 or 10 people that we know check out our videos. And we have to win over an audience, right? And so this guy and the other people at CNN, they're on CNN freaking N, right? And people are going to check them out just because they're on CNN. I mean, the network has lost favor, but still, it's on everywhere. It's on airports. It's, I mean, we all know who these people are. They're famous just for being on the network. But if they had to create an audience from scratch, they couldn't do it. They're not interesting. They're not funny. They're not likable. That's why CNN Plus tanked, right? And so even with the advantage of having a high-profile network, they can't generate an audience. So how many fans does he actually have? How many people are interested in hearing what Jim Acosta has to say, right?
I was reading through some of this redacted material yesterday. I was remembering what you said a week ago, that Mar-a-Lago is not exactly the kind of place where you store classified top-secret documents.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Why would you do it there?
It's not hard to imagine that after this assessment, Trump's allies in Congress will come out and try to downplay the national security implications here, and try to discredit what the head of the...
This was they dumped this on Friday. It's a document dump because they didn't have anything.
Intelligence community says, but I mean, talk about that. I mean, it seems pretty clear that the DNI is essentially agreeing with what you were saying a week ago.
Yeah, that's right, Jim. It is the president's home 6 months out of the year, but it is also a club, a resort. And
it's both things. It's a club and his home.
And it is a resort that puts its members very first. And as I've talked about before, the guests of the members can come in with very, very little vetting. They cater to their members, which they have the right to do. But there are people in and out of there constantly who are not necessarily vetted.
They're not vetted. Unvetted people are run. There's like how many people in these? You see any unvetted people here? Can you show us a couple of unvetted people?
So that's something to think about. And, I know.
I'm thinking about right now. All these unvetted people running about the place, unvetted.
There was a padlock put on the door, but how easy could it be to cut a padlock? It seems less.
It's pretty easy. For an unvetted person, they could do it like it's a knife through butter. Look at this dude, right?
Yeah, I think that's what's, everybody wants to know, how does this affect me? Bottom line. And I've been really disappointed to see a lot of my Republican colleagues already downplaying it, saying,
oh my God, yeah, it's so horrible. Oh, they're downplaying it. Your Republican colleagues, and you're not going to bring up Hillary. Like if you're a real Republican, you bring up Hillary. Not that to me that makes any difference, but to Republicans it does.
Only found documents. I'm not sure what they were expecting. But right now, at this very second, there are people in our country and around this world who are protecting us. They are undercover and they're protecting us.
They're undercover protecting us, doing dirty deeds, psychological operations, sabotaging elections. I mean, they're just, these people are protecting us left and right. They're protecting the F out of us.
Working for an intelligence agency or the military. They are in dangerous situations all of the time, protecting us from things that we have no idea about. And the fact
are they protecting us from you?
that there were documents there that could blow these people's cover.
Could blow their cover, much like Valerie Plame and Dick Cheney is like somehow celebrated as a hero and better than Trump.
It should worry people because it puts your families
Don't tell me what I should feel about something. Stephanie Grisham.
And so I think that's something for people to really try to understand. It's not just some documents that were thrown in a box. These are people's lives, and these are the
lives are at risk here. Brave people who are protecting you, their lives are now at risk.
Lives of people's families.
happened to these documents, who had access to them, and were any of our real major secrets blown because of the way this material was handled.
Who knows? It could be, there's so many unanswered questions.
I think from a prosecutor's standpoint, it's that obstruction piece that really is important here.
And Stephanie, we've seen a number of responses from Trump revealing some of his thinking over the past several days. And some of these truth posts, as they're called, in an Orwellian sort of way, I guess. I mean,
in Orwellian sort of way, I use a little bit of an Orwellian sort of way. I don't even know what that means, Orwellian.
They reveal what appears to be a good deal of concern on his part. Do you think Trump is freaking out over this?
I think he's got to be concerned. I don't know.
How did Trump stand this woman's voice? like, what's going on, Stephanie Grisham?
How he's not. I mean, the man is under investigation 6, 7, 8 ways.
Yeah, that's his whole life has been lawsuits and drama.
Different investigations, and now people have gone into his home and removed actual evidence. I think the fact that he keeps changing his messaging, to me, as somebody who worked for him for so long, that is very telling. A lot of times with Donald Trump, he will go to a message and stick to it and double down, triple down, even if it's absolutely the wrong message.
I've heard him change his message many a time. The guy flip-flops more than anybody else, as much as anybody else.
This time the message keeps changing, whether it's they planted evidence or they shouldn't have gone in, I had no notice, I wasn't even given a chance, or most recently it's been, release everything, be transparent. And so they released this affidavit that's completely setting precedent that I'm not sure will be good in the future for future cases or future presidents, excuse me. And now that's not enough either. What are these redactions, covering up? And really, they just want to see what the redactions are because they want to see who's talking to them and they want to see exactly what the DOJ has so they can start crafting messages against it. All that to say, yes, I think he is nervous. This isn't like
he is nervous. Thanks for that 4-minute answer. The answer is yes.
Him to change his message so often. He's much better at PR than that. I know that sounds silly, but usually when he just triples down on anything, no matter how bonkers or false it is, he gets away.
Okay, so the only reason she's on this network is because she's turned on Trump, right? And the Republicans. She's the most recent Gumby Joe Scarborough. A former Republican. They got a few of them on there. Marcy, whatever her name is. Marsha Wallace. And again, I'm not a Republican. I don't care. But, it would be devastating for them to lose Trump. They are the party and the network, the Democratic Party and the CNN and MSNBC are the networks of anybody but Trump. We're not Trump. That's their whole message. Well, at least we're not Trump, right? And if they lose Trump, they have nothing. If Trump goes to jail, they have nothing. They don't have any content. Trump makes up most of their lead stories. Trump is on these networks almost every day, so much so that people are tired of hearing him because people who are Democrats and liberals are tired of Trump. And so these guys need Trump, and I'd be shocked. I mean, everybody needs Trump on the left and even the intelligence community. If they put Trump in jail, it would be a real stunner. I just don't see how that happens. It's like a TV show. I talk about the cliffhanger mentality, in The Lost, where they leave things unresolved. And they did that for years with abortion. And it's still kind of unresolved now because it's now being thrown back to the states. But there was always this sense that the right would get, they'd be able to load the Supreme Court with enough right-leaning justices and they could overturn Roe versus Wade. But they did that, and then John Roberts turned liberal. And it was like they just didn't want to. See, they don't like to resolve any issues. They don't like to vote on anything. They would avoid voting on everything if they could, right? Because their votes are going to cost them later on if something goes south or things don't go, the right direction or public opinion turns. I mean, that's how politicians are, right? And so with Roe v. Wade, as long as it was still there, but the Republicans were working on getting rid of it, then they had all the support of the pro-lifers. But now they screw themselves because all the, pro-abortion people are mobilized, right? You stop watching the show if they tell you all the secrets. Like when you watch Lost, they would give you some resolution and they would give you some more mysteries, leaving you in this sort of unresolved state. And that's how they want Trump to be. But people have lost interest in Trump. I mean, the left-wing people. And so they're trying to, supercharge him again. But they want to keep him going as long as possible because they don't have anything else, right? They don't have a platform. They don't have a viable, vibrant candidate in JoJo Magooze. He's a nightmare. Everyone hates Kamala, like even the Democrats. Like they don't have anybody. They don't have anybody that would get votes on their own. They can get, I'm not Trump votes. And, they don't have anybody you want to listen to on CNN and MSNBC, but they'll listen to you bash Trump, or they used to. And so they were in their heyday. CNN and MSNBC was getting respectable ratings in the Trump days. And so if they put him in jail, then that's gone. They take Trump off the board, and what do they have? They have a bunch of unlikable people in the media, and even more unlikable people in the political party, and a bunch of angry Americans, right? So it's, they can't justify anything then. And so they have to leave Trump out there because that's all they have. That's, he's their best player. See, Trump could go to jail in New York State. They brought criminal charges against many of the people that work for him. That guy, Weinberg or whatever his name is, and his chief, whatever he was, lawyer or something. And they got rid of Michael Cohen. He went to jail. They've gotten people. The federal government, they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And they impeached Trump and that failed. But now they have more people. They still can't get the guy. And they could easily get him. He's committed crimes, and it doesn't even matter whether he did or not, right? And so why don't they just arrest the guy? It's just like with Hillary. Hillary's an asset to the Republicans, but as soon as you throw her in jail, people are like, she got what she deserved. And they no longer care about it, right? And so, this is where they are, they're boxed into a corner. At some point, they have to do something. I mean, they might want Trump to be president again because they were able to run so much agenda through when he was president. I mean, who knows how this thing will play out. But it's like, people who have nothing on their own. The only thing that's interesting about them is when they have Trump, be a part of their conversation. It's like these reality TV shows where the villain often is the most interesting character, and the show gets really hard to watch once the villain leaves. And that's how their life revolves around Trump. But anyways, only spirituality will save this world. It's power motto, definitely born for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.